imagine not being able to express yourself to another person or being unable to pick up on how they feel about you. Well, that's what it can be like for people living with autism. It's a lifelong condition affecting one person in every 100 in the UK, and it's such a social impact on those who have it that 42% of autistic children simply don't have any pals, they don't have any friends. Well, join me now in the first TV interview together, our House of Commons Speaker John Bercow and his wife Sally, and their 8-year-old son was diagnosed with autism 5 years ago. Thank you both for coming in. You said there was a sense of relief when he was diagnosed, because at least then you knew.
It's an end to the uncertainty. Yeah. We knew something was wrong, Lorraine. We didn't know for sure what. Sally had either maternal or female intuition, and she sensed that he might be on the autistic spectrum. But to get confirmation and to get the label was actually useful, because apart from anything else, it was the route to the sort of assistance and support he needed. And
it's difficult because it's your first child. I know you've got 3 kids, but it's your first child, so you don't have anything to compare with. That's the difficulty, isn't it?
So, you know, he was developing at sort of slower than normal rates, and everybody was sort of, oh, you know, he'll pick up, you know, it's just a different shade of normal, essentially. But I just knew that there was something wrong with him.
So how is he on a day-to-day basis? Because I know he goes to a mainstream school,
he doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's got full-time help, and he's doing really well, isn't he?
He's doing fantastically. And, you know, he's a delightful little boy. But, of course, it is a lifelong condition. Lorraine, it's a spectrum condition, so there are all sorts of variants on the theme of autism, some people more severely affected than others, but he does experience difficulties of social communication, difficulties of social imagination, difficulties of social interaction, and that will remain true lifelong, and the challenge is to find ways of addressing the difficulty and enabling him to make friends, to fulfil his potential and to enjoy life.
Well, exactly, that's what you want. That's what we all want for our children.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, Sally, you went into Celebrity Big Brother.
I did.
As we know.
Cover up your ears.
No, don't listen now. No, but I had no idea that you raised so much money for autism, because what was it, £100,000?
Yeah, I raised £100,000 for Ambitious About Autism.
Yeah, and there you are there, and it's a big cheque, as it should be. It's an awful lot of money.
I mean, that was why I did it, and you know, there's no secret that John didn't approve of me doing it. I think you had visions of George Galloway dancing around as a cat, thinking I did the same kind of thing. But, I mean, it was a lot of money, and to me, I just felt that I couldn't turn down that kind of money.
Sure, well, I can completely understand
So I've no regrets about doing it.
And it was very much Sally's decision.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be a hypocrite, Lorraine, and pretend that I was keen on the idea. Sally's absolutely right. I wasn't keen on the idea. I thought that the programme presented hazards for her and for me. But the fact is, I always accepted that she was a free agent and she was entitled to do it if she wanted to do so. And did she do well on the programme? She did. And did she raise a fortune? She did. And did she do so for a magnificent charity, Ambitious About Autism? She did, and I'm very proud of her for that.
Because you did, well, because you did get a bit of stick. Everybody was, and it was almost like, you know, you should have put your foot down and said, no, you can't do that.
What century, Lorraine, are some of these people living in?
Absolutely.
You know, did you insist? Did you instruct her not to do it? And I just thought, hello?
No.
This is 2011, as it then was.
As it was, yeah.
The idea that Sally is my property or my chattel, my appendage,
you knew what
is
I was
absurd.
like when you married me, didn't you?
I did, Sally. I knew that you were inclined to do your own thing.
No, exactly. Is there any time, though, John, when you just think, oh, for goodness sake, shush? You know, because sometimes you have been, and I know Twitter, it's very difficult sometimes. I mean, I tweet all the time. But I always have in the back of my mind, don't tweet anything that you wouldn't be prepared to say on TV. It's always at the back of my mind.
That's good advice, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is a difficult one. So has there been any time you've just thought, don't say anything, just don't say anything?
Yes, yes, there have been such times. But in truth, what I ought to say is that I don't know what Sally's going to tweet, and on the whole, that is much for the best. And it's not for me to be censor. She is strong-willed, but I reiterate the basic point, strong-willed here in support of a fantastic cause. We want to raise awareness of autism. We want to show people that they needn't feel lonely and isolated and confused, that there can be help, and that there are organisations that are looking to provide that help. And in one sense, she is strong-willed, as our son Oliver is strong-willed. He's very committed, as autistic people tend to be, to routine and to structure, but also, Lorraine, to control. And observing him, I often think he wouldn't be interested in being a democratic leader, but he quite liked to be a dictator.
Okay, I got you on that one. I understand what you're saying. But you know you've got 2 little ones as well. Do sometimes they look at their big brother and see how he is, and do they ever copy him? Or do they...
absolutely. I mean, it's a great excuse for them to be naughty,
right,
you know, because autistic children are often seen as naughty. You know, they're not. They're unruly, and it's just their way of being.
Of course.
But Freddie and Jemima copy Oliver. He's their role model. So sometimes it's like having 3 autistic children.
No, and it is difficult, and of course you adore your children, you love your children very much, but sometimes, you know, autistic children can act up. It's not acting up, it's just they're just being themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And because, you know, on the outside they look like everyone else. That's
I mean, one of the great merits of your programme is that there is the chance to get across to a mass audience that they shouldn't confuse disability and disobedience. It's incredibly irritating for autistic children's parents when, for example, in a park or a playground...
Or in the supermarket.
Or in
Do
a
you remember
supermarket, somebody comes up and says, you really ought to give your child a thick ear. That child needs to learn some discipline and how to behave. And people are speaking from positions of complete ignorance. And what we want to do is to say to other parents of autistic children, we worked hard and we were lucky that we had a good local authority that was cooperative, but there is help out there. Ambitious About Autism can help you, and if we can give a bit of our time voluntarily to support what's a great charity in support of a great cause and support of great children...
It makes perfect sense. And it is more difficult for you because you are both obviously in the public eye, and it's more difficult when your kid is acting up, or not acting up, I don't mean that, but you know, people perceive that, don't they?
I think being a parent is difficult anyway, whether you're in the public eye or whether your child's got a disability, you know. It's hard work, isn't it?
No, absolutely. It's great to see both of you, and congratulations on raising £100,000.
Thank you.
Because that is incredible, you know, absolutely fine. Thank you both very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Right, after the